Well, good morning, and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. This is actually a pre-recording because today, I am moving back down to Cincinnati, so I'll be busy. We have our first obligation down at the seminary, so I will take all the prayers you have as I enter year 2 of my discernment to see what the Lord is calling me to do with my life. So, anyway, with that being said, it is Wednesday, August 18th, the 20th Wednesday of Ordinary Time, and it is the feast day of Saint Alberto Hurtado, and he was a Jesuit priest from Chile and in Chile, as well as a lawyer, social worker, and a writer. And he had a huge influence in Chile. Uh, his family, he was born into aristocrat family, very well off. Then his mother sold it, but she was defrauded, and they went immediately to poverty. So he's kind of lived both extremes of life. And anyway, he ended up becoming a priest, um, and he had a huge love and devotion to the poor and to children. In fact, he is the patron saint of the country of Chile, of poor people, of social workers, and of street children. And um, he was around in the 20th century, like not that long ago. He was born in 1901 and he died in 1952. I know people that were born in the 50s, so that's pretty cool. Um, so anyway, today's gospel is from Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 through 16. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen. The kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out at dawn to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with them for the usual daily wage, he sent them into his vineyard. Going out about 9 o'clock, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and he said to them, "You too go into my vineyard, and I will give you what is just." So they went off, and he went out again around noon, and around 3 o'clock, and did likewise. Going out about 5 o'clock, he found others standing around, and said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They answered, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You too go into my vineyard." When it was evening, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Summon the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and ending with the first." When those who had started about 5 o'clock came, each received the usual daily wage. So when the first came, they thought that they would receive more, but each of them also got the usual wage. And on receiving it, they grumbled against the landowner, saying, "These last ones worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who bore the day's burden and the heat." He said to one of them in reply, "My friend, I am not cheating you. Did you not agree with me for the daily usual wage? Take what is yours and go. What if I wish to give this last one the same as you? Or am I not free to do as I wish with my own money? Are you envious because I am generous? Thus the last will be first, and the first will be last." There's a lot of different things you can take from this. But it's a great parable of the workers in the vineyard, and how you can see this. You can see like the weakness of humanity. We get trapped up into this comparison with others of thinking that we deserve more than other people, even though they got their daily wage. So Jesus explains to them, or this worker, the landowner, has to explain to the workers that he's done what he promised to pay them, and why are you attacking him for his generosity for those who came late? And how often do we, dang fly, he said, and how often do we do the same thing? Like we think that we deserve more. We think that our efforts are better than other people's efforts, or anything else. But they got what God was just. They got what they received was just, and but their human frailties came out, and they were frustrated and jealous and envious of the other people. Um, and I think that's quite interesting. And then the question that really stood out to me here, which I think is going to be part of the challenge for today, um, as well as the last sentence once again. But it says, and we'll go again. It says, if you paid attention to yesterday's gospel, the last verse was, whenever it came to the rich young man. It says, "But many who are first will be last, and the last will be first." Then the immediate next story in Matthew's gospel, the very last line of that section, of the section today on the workers in the vineyard, is, "Thus the last will be first, and the first will be last." Like, this is a constant call of humility, of wanting to pursue others so that everybody makes it to heaven, and not to fall into pride and ego and arrogance and stuff like that. I think that's very interesting that there are two completely different parables, but they're ending with the exact same line for the most part, of the first will be last and the last will be first. And so, which also just demonstrates the amount of mercy that God has for all of us. But the question that I think is going to go with the challenge the most today is going to be the question of, why do you stand here idle all day? And that is what we all, myself included, can reflect upon, is, are we moving? Are we showing growth and progress in our faith, in our work, in our love for our families and friends, in our spiritual lives, and not so much our careers? Like, that tends to be our main focus, it seems like, whenever I talk to people. But like, are we making forward progress in our faith, or are we idle? And you can see how in this parable, Jesus does not want us to be idle. He's asking us to come. And that's why he's pulling these people into the vineyard at random times. He's seeing that they're idle. He's like, come on. He's seeing a few hours later, he's seeing somebody else being idle, or a group of others being idle. He says, come on. He wants action. He wants us to not just sit around all day browsing social media or listening to different conspiracy theorists, or whatever it might be, or just sitting around and being on our phone or browsing or watching YouTube videos, or whatever it is that we're being idle. Jesus doesn't want us to be idle. He wants us to go fishing for souls and to go do actions that are going to help us attain that. So that's the question. Why do you stand here idle all day? And if you don't, that's good. But at the same time, what else can we do? We always want to show growth, because if we're not growing, we're dying. And that is the whole point of what this parable is, because Jesus wants us all to live. Have a great day. God bless. Keep it real. A little long-winded, but, it is what it is. Have a good day. In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.